Your eyes look really pretty.
Oh, thank you. I was gonna say, look how flushed my cheeks are though, because it's warm out here.
We would take some of that.
Yes.
I will take some of that warmth,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
It was like early 60s here yesterday, and I was like, "It's nice."
Ooh, middle of summer. So Anthony's joining again because he likes to, and he's cute.
Anytime.
He's been watching our podcast lately. Actually, he's thinking about starting his own.
Nice. Well, you're welcome here anytime.
Cool. So yeah, Em, I have heard your voice.
Wait a minute.
I've heard your voice so much lately because I've been painting Elena's room, and I put on you guys' old podcast because like I love it because like I get to hear Rachel have conversations and learn stuff from her, like that I didn't know, like stuff we talked about everything. So like hearing new stuff is cool. Plus also old stories where I get to hear your point of view, like when the church girl busted into song. And Rachel laughed and had to pretend she was coughing in your lap.
Oh, that was
like I've heard that story so many times, but then I got to hear it from your point of view. Yeah. Anyway, so we got on the whole where breaking tradition podcast and then when men are more attractive when they're defending women. And Rachel's been talking about how men need to get started and start talking. So I was thinking about starting a podcast with my buddy Matt. Talking about like that stuff like that, and we were gonna try to involve Cody, but I know he just doesn't want to talk. Like so,
or anybody wants to talk, but maybe not on camera.
Yeah, he's not much for podcasting, but I'm sure he would appreciate the invite. But Rachel and I will be your first 2 subscribers, so
exactly.
Let's do it.
All right.
Like it. I like podcasts that are things that I don't know, new perspectives. And like different perspectives and like adding more information out there into the netosphere. So
and it's good for us to like get to talk things through so that if you were able to talk things through with another person, just more opinions.
It's the funnest therapy there is.
Somebody's mowing the lawn in here.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it's too much just background noise.
Whatever. All right.
Well, I'm excited to hear it. So do it.
To Little White Picket Fence. Em's got the topic today.
Yes, I do.
So I'm excited.
Sweet. I'll just jump right into it. Okay. I heard this story not too long ago about these 2 badass little boys in the early 1900s. And it really, really kind of piqued my interest. So let me tell you their story. So have you ever heard of the Abernathy brothers?
Only through you.
Only through me. Okay.
Have you?
No, this is not a story I was very familiar with, and I know a lot of stories, so it's always good to hear like a new one. And okay, so to tell you about these boys, I got to tell you about their dad first. His name was Jack Abernathy, and he, just after the Civil War, his family moved to Texas, and so when he was 6 years old, he was working on his parents' farm, basically. And he was becoming very, very proficient at everything that he did. He was very, very good at what he did. So at 9 years old, he gets asked to work on a different ranch far away from home. And he's like, heck yeah, bring it on. I will go. So he goes a ranching at 9 years old, which I have an 8-year-old right now, and that's not a thing we will be pursuing. But it's not happening. At 15, Jack became a full-fledged cowboy, and he was a piano player at a saloon until one day there was a gunfight at said saloon, and one of the participants in the gunfight hid behind a piano and ended up putting 6 bullet holes in the piano. And his mom was like, no more, you're good, can't do that anymore. So he's just a full-fledged cowboy, and he married a lady named Jessie Pearl Jordan. And have you ever heard of the Oklahoma land race?
As far as people moving in and
like
claiming land type stuff?
From the Tom Cruise movie?
From the Tom Cruise movie, that's exactly what I thought of. If you want a good example of what the Oklahoma land race is, go watch Far and Away.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie anyway.
Oh, heck yeah. They were opening up the territory, and they wanted a lot of people to be there as soon as possible and open it up together. So what they did was they advertised this huge race. Like they had a date and a time and a starting starting line, and they had at the land race in 1889, they had 50,000 people that showed up, and they were all racing for 1.9 million acres. So they blow the cannon, they say go, and they all race for these flags that are set at different acreage distances. And if you got a flag, then you got a place to live, and if not, then you're out of luck. So that's how they did it. And he and Jesse Pearl got themselves a little homestead, and they started cattle ranching and started their little family. And while he was cattle ranching, Jack he found a wolf was chasing one of his dogs, and he couldn't have that because he loved his dogs. So he chases after this wolf, comes right up next to him, jumps on top of it, and like jabs his fist in his mouth and just prepares to get bit, and it never happens. So he jabbed his arm so far down the wolf's throat, back behind his incisors, canine teeth, and he couldn't bite. And so he caught this wolf alive. I just bit. Caught the wolf alive, turned it in for the $50 bounty, and he's like, I think I found myself a new income stream. So he starts catching wolves alive using this method where you just jump on them and make it so they can't bite you.
In their mouth, okay?
Yeah, because who wouldn't do that? And so he earned the nickname.
I've had to do that with Enzo.
Yeah. Well, seriously,
not jump on his back, but like keep him from biting me. I've had to go like push back on
further.
His mouth. So he
does, well, because he plays, he likes to play.
Not like actually fight. Like he's never actually been. But yeah, I do that method.
But yeah, if he's getting a little too playful, yeah. If you push further back, and
I just like anyway.
he got the nickname "Catch 'Em Alive Jack," so people would come watch him do his little trick here, and Teddy Roosevelt, when he was president, he's like, I gotta see this. He's kind of known for being a little wild child, So he's like, I gotta see him do this. So he came and he hung out with Jack for a while, and he wanted to try catching a wolf like that. And all the Secret Service and people around him were like, bad idea. You can't do that. But he and Jack and Teddy became very good friends. And anyways, they were good friends. So they Jesse Pearl and Jack start their little family, and they have 3 girls and 2 boys. And Jack would read the boys adventure stories, like Mark Twain and some other guy, I don't know. Anyway, he would just read him these adventure stories, and
he could just tell his own stories. Sounds like he had quite an adventure,
right? And he did. He would tell the boys all the things, like, but the boys really like caught on to these adventure stories, and they're like, we want to have adventures of our own. And their dad was really encouraging and made sure they were capable, and there we go. And Teddy Roosevelt made Jack the youngest U.S. Marshal ever appointed. I think that was what it was. Yeah, youngest U.S. Marshal that was ever appointed. And
so he was he ever a police officer, or did he have anything in that, or he was just like, you're a good person, you're the U.S. Marshal?
Yeah, clearly you kick ass, go be a U.S. Marshal. And I think that's what they needed in that area at that time. Like, we just need people who can get the job done. So he would often go on these trips for being a U.S. Marshal. And he came back one time and he told his young sons about a trip he took to Santa Fe. And he made it sound really exciting. I got to see the governor's mansion and all this stuff. And the boys are like, you know what? We would kind of like to go. And so, their mother had passed away from Bright's disease, which is like a kidney disease, caused heart failure. And so it was just the dad and his kids, and the boys were saying, hey, we want to go to Santa Fe. We want to see the things that you saw. And he's like, all right, well, make a plan. Show me how you get there, and you can go. Which they said never ever would have happened if their mom had still been alive. But dads are built different. So he's like, yeah, okay. Because the boys were 5 and 9. So
ready to venture out on their own. Yeah.
Could you imagine
they were still
being like, I want to go to California, and me being like, fuck it, give me a plan and you can go.
Elena saying it. I can't imagine.
Like, I can't imagine being like, oh, you know what? Go with your 9-year-old, clearly capable.
Wholly different world we're living in. But yeah,
got hired onto a ranch, so I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, he's just like, make me a plan, show me what you're gonna do, and go ahead and do it. And so they mapped out their little plan, what they were going to do, and they started off on their journey all by themselves at 5 and 9. And they just rode their little horses and camped all the way there. And
they camped like they that's awesome. Well,
yeah, I mean, I guess camped. Yeah, there's not like a whole lot of
different world. Different world. No,
whole different world.
9.
Yeah. So I got the wrong one here. Okay, so it was 2 weeks on dusty trails. They liked sleeping out under the stars. They said they felt safe as long as they could see like the Big Dipper and the North Star, and they just felt right at home. People who were homesteading out there would frequently invite them in and like feed them and talk to them, and they took care of them. And then they ended up in Santa Fe. They went sightseeing. They saw all of the stuff their dad had talked about. They saw the governor's mansion. They toured around for a little bit, and then they decided it was time to go home. And they decided to take a different route. Like, let's plan out a different route so we can see some more on the way home. So they did, and on their way back, they ran into this group of guys, and they invited them to come, to their campfire for the night and just talk to them. And Jack said he received a letter in the mail a while later from these men that they stayed the night with. And it ended up being a fairly famous outlaw at the time. And he said, we loved your boys. You've raised some good boys here. If it had been you, I would have shot you in the face. But
so they only survived because they were children.
Because they were children, it was okay. So they made it back. Cool. Yeah, they made it back, and they felt pretty good about it. They were pretty excited that they had been able to do this by themselves. So then they had to go back to school, which was, necessary, but not their cup of tea. And as soon as they got out of school,
seeing like how capable they were and like all the world that was out there, and it's like,
to have to sit at a desk could not have been fun. Yeah, not a fun thing. Okay, so Bud and Temple wanted to go on another trip after school got out, and they wanted to go to a celebration for Teddy Roosevelt. He was no longer president. He was coming back from Africa, and there was supposed to be a huge celebration for him in New York. So they said, "Hey, Dad, we're going to New York." So they mapped out their little plan.
Where are they starting again?
They were in Texas, right?
Texas,
Oklahoma. They ran in the Oklahoma land race. His dad grew up in Texas. So they mapped out their little plan again. Their dad was going to come by train a little bit later. And so they left in April, and everywhere they stopped, people would talk to him. And like some reporters started hearing about them, and they started doing little stories on them, and people started like recognizing these little celebrities that were coming through. And they got to stay the night at a firehouse, which they really liked. Go tour around that. They met the Wright brothers, and they got to tour one of their brand new plane making factories and sit behind the controls of one of the planes. They said that was pretty cool, especially back then when planes were not,
so commonplace. Yeah.
Yeah. They saw Halley's Comet. Halley's.
I can say Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
I always heard Halley's.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. They met President Taft in Washington, D.C., and they spoke on the floor of the House and Senate. And then a vaudeville singer wrote a song about them. And so they had to go watch her sing this song, and they said it was really embarrassing. Did not like that. I mean, they're just little boys, you know what I mean? They're like, yay.
How old are they on the second trip? The first one, they're 5 and 9. Then after school,
so this one must be 10 and 6 because it was just after school got out.
Oh my gosh.
The other thing that's amazing to me is I have an 11-year-old, and the last thing she would want is a 6-year-old like going with her. Like,
yeah,
that's amazing to me that he was like, "Yep, I'll take my 6-year-old brother and we'll go cross country." But so on their way, they sent a radio message to Theodore Roosevelt saying they were coming, and he sent a message back to him that was like, telling him that he was super excited that he was going to get to see him. And so they get to New York, and there's a big parade for Teddy Roosevelt. And so it's in the parade route, it was Teddy Roosevelt, these two little boys, and then Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders behind them, like his posse. So they were right there in the action. Somebody threw a teddy bear at Teddy Roosevelt, and he stopped the whole parade, went and gave it to one of the boys, and then got back in. And
so
anyway.
There's got to be pictures of some of this and these boys.
Oh, there's a lot. I'll send you a bunch. You can
send them to Jesse.
Jesse can put these in wherever she wants. Yeah. But so since they were celebrities, there was this big dinner held for them. Where was it? At the Hotel Astor, where you had big celebrities like Orville Wright and Franklin and Teddy Roosevelt and a whole bunch of other people. They all came to see these boys who were just like amazing adventurers. And so the boys wanted to go home, but they didn't want to go by train, and they wanted a new adventure. So at 10 and 6 years old, they bought themselves a little car. It was a little.
At 10 they bought a car. Yeah. How did they make money when they're traveling like this, or do they just come from money?
Maybe
they're celebrities. They just have money.
They were celebrities. Well, that's a question. I don't know if their dad just sponsored them, but as they got more famous, there were companies that would sponsor them and use them in their advertising, and assume they got something from that. So they got this little. It was a brush car, and it was really simple. So they took a little time, learned how to drive it, and their dad bought a different car, and I think he just kind of followed behind them. And they drove 30 miles an hour home, all the way through dirt roads, and they had to cross rivers and stuff, and they made it
just like an adventure. It wasn't like driving down the freeway. They were like off-roading. No. That's fun.
They were off-roading in early cars, which is probably not easy to do. And like I said, the brush company caught wind that the boys had used one of their cars, and they decided to use them in all of their advertising. And in 1911, they accepted a challenge for $10,000 if they made it. Let's see, from the Atlantic to the Pacific in 60 days, they would receive $10,000. So these boys started off on their journey.
You know who did that? Who was going to give them the $10,000? Where did the money come from? Just some rich donor that was like, entertain me. Come, show me what you can do.
Find out. I want to say it was the brush company, but probably it wasn't.
Maybe it was.
I should have written that down. But anyway,
no, that's okay.
Companies. So for $10,000, they were going to go across the whole country in 60 days. But in the middle of their journey, they lost track of their horse. Their horses got spooked, ran away, and they lost a few days. And so they made it in 62 days and did not win the $10,000. Which
they should give them like you get 8,000. You know, like you lost 1,000 a day after or something.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So they went on hurting for money though, because they had a lot. It sounds like they had means to do these things. They were doing okay, so it's all right.
Yeah, and I think even if they didn't have the money, they'd still do it. Like they weren't camping with an RV or anything. It's just like
But
we'll shoot some rabbits on the way.
$1,000 in 1911. That's like $1 million.
Yeah, that's huge. Clearly, somebody didn't think they were going to make it, but they came pretty dang close.
And maybe somebody spooked their horses intentionally, so they didn't have to give them the money because they realized, oh shit, they're going to do it.
Oh crap! Send someone out to the baby again.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll have to look into this. No. We need to get the grandchildren, the great grandchildren of Bud and Temple Abernathy.
Share the story.
Well, we need to get them some payback for.
How did you learn about this? Is there like a documentary on them out there?
There's a couple of very small documentaries. I think I heard it on a TikTok.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck with me. But
you're like, wow, that's kind of crazy. 5 and 9.
Little badasses. Yeah. So they went on a few more little adventures, but the the New York one was pretty like the biggest. And then later on, Bud became a lawyer and a judge in Texas, and Temple worked in the oil industry, and Jack worked for the Secret Service. So the thing that like, I mean, I thought a lot of stuff after hearing this story. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe the reason we have so much like ADHD and behavior issues is because we're not tapping into all the potential that we have.
Yeah, we're capable of so much more, and we're limiting everybody to a classroom and only a certain amount of information to keep them in control.
Even me, like with my 8-year-old, he's perfectly capable, but we live on kind of a busy road, and if he's like, I want to go get the mail, I'm like, maybe you should take your sister. Like, really?
Oh my God. I still dress our 5, almost 6-year-old. I still get her dressed in the morning. She can dress herself.
She totally can.
If someone can travel from a 5-year-old can travel to California on a horse, she can get her pants on.
But I've actually known this because one thing that I don't know that my parents were doing it intentionally, but because they had 10 kids and because, you know, my dad was sick and they needed to work together to like, you know, make ends meet, all the, you know, we had a lot of freedom. And so I had a lot of experiences, and I feel like all the time, like my kids are just so freaking capable. And while I do like, definitely they're not getting the same experiences as me, I think we're pretty good at like being open with them about like information. Like they're not just capable of going and doing, like they're capable of getting all the facts, all the information. Like there's no topic, literally no topic we do not cross. We cross. I'm
guaranteeing your kids know more that way than any of these guys
100%. Did. And yeah, it's just like they are capable. I feel like but physically going out and like venturing on their own in the world, we have not given our girls as much of that capability, and we like need to start creating that for them or something. Because
we do live in a completely different world. Yeah,
we do.
Like, you can't recreate this for your kids because there's weird people out there, and there's like you understand the dangers, but there are things. The other thing that I'm hoping to include in the end of this is just modern kids doing badass things. Like, we can create those opportunities for our kids in different ways.
We can create different opportunities for them to learn through experiences, because they cannot just learn through the stories. They gotta experience stuff, and they're so much more capable than I think.
Can we give them credit for?
And it's totally, you know, by design. Unfortunately, you know that like the Pampers and, you know, all the different baby companies, they have lobbying to like we don't need our kids in diapers as long as they are. In other countries, kids are done with diapers by 1. Here we're like 2 and 3 is normal, and then another product after that, because you don't want to push them. And it's like, no, diamonds are made, like, we're not saying abuse them, we're saying teach them. I know it's easier for you to just leave the shit in the diaper and make them, you know, let them slowly figure it out, but their brain is and their body is going to be so much better off if you challenge them and expect things of them, but in like a kind way. It doesn't have to be an abusive way to get them there, but we can still realize, but we do need to, you know, create diamonds out of the coal that we are, by a little bit of like almost pressure to take care of yourself from an early age, because none of us have someone who's going to take care of us forever, and we're just making it so hard on ourselves to have all these people who are incapable of taking care of themselves, let alone anybody else.
Yeah. Well, okay, good example here. No, that totally made sense. That totally made sense. I totally agree. Prime example is my husband. You probably won't want me talking about him, but when he was a little kid, he grew up on his parents' farm, right? And if there's something to do, you just do it. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you're capable of. My husband's father's favorite saying is, "You'll know when you get there," which is like, I don't know how to drive this semi truck. Well, you'll know by the time you get there. Like, get in there and do it. And like, he was driving a semi when he was 7, 9, something like that. And like, I want my kids to have the same experiences, but when they do, it's terrifying. It's so hard. Like, I'm probably the biggest hindrance to them learning stuff. Um, the other thing that stuck out to me in the story was it's great to have that faith in your kids, but there has to be a piece of you that's okay with bad things happening to them, which
Yeah.
I have a really hard time with. Like, I have,
Yeah, you have to be okay with like taking a risk basically, because you know that you could protect them, but do you take the risk
yeah.
and let them take the risk?
Mhm. I mean,
So I think
they
there's
were
a smart way
there
to
were
do
wolves
it.
out there.
Yeah, and shit's
Yeah.
gonna happen, but they're gonna be better prepared for that shit if they're given the opportunity to deal with that shit. Being told it's there and to be afraid of it, but never really knowing like what it is. So like you're not really prepared when it comes. You're way more of a victim. I
Yeah.
really am thankful to my parents almost for the opportunity I had to grow up and do a whole lot on my own. And
Yeah.
because I am a little bit like Cody, I guess I'd say, when I'm in like a good headspace, that is, because I can, have my down times where I'm not getting shit done, and that's too much lately. But I feel like I'm a doer. And I feel like so many people get stuck in a planning phase and they never do anything. And I'm like, my planning
I do.
phase is just the fact that it's an idea, pretty much. Once it's an idea, I'm in action. Because if I continue to plan, nothing's ever gonna fucking happen. Like I will
Which is why
plan
we were
all
such
day
great
every day
friends.
and just get little things done. So it's like we need people of action. And I so see
Yeah.
that in our kids, which I freaking love. Well, in different ways. In different ways. Like they're all accomplishing things already that I'm like a little amazed by.
Okay, so I'm a planner, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking time to think about it instead of just jumping into action. But
True.
she has no faith that I will ever do anything. So if I'm planning, like she gives me a task, right? If I plan it in my head, how am I going to do this, right? She'll just start doing it. I'm like, why are you doing that? You're like, because you're not. I'm like,
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Like I take the time to think about it so that I do it
Yeah.
right once.
And see, and I'm
Instead of
capable,
just
so a
go,
lot
go,
of times
go.
I just really want to do it. And I'm like, I like I don't know, like I guess I don't really need to ask you to do things sometimes. Pretty much, it's like, oh, if I can do it instead of asking, just go ahead and do it, because, like, it's like me and Anthony, we work really well together. But like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be working on, like, if we had a company, we would need to have our own roles to play, because I work at a very different rate than he
Yep.
does. Like, and it is uncomfortable for me to work the way he works. It's uncomfortable for him to work the way I work. But like,
Yep.
it just
Well,
make space for like different levels, because we kind of need it all. There are sometimes things where I do
yeah.
go in a little too rash, and Anthony can be like, okay, hold up, I was thinking about
Well,
this, and then we can actually enact his plan.
Mhm. Well, and
Whereas
that's why
mine, like, it
we
always
worked.
also that ends well, because if I keep going, I'm going to figure it out. Even if there's
Yeah.
hiccups along the way, I might go the wrong way, but then I'm going to just change. Like, we'll figure it out when we get there. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going.
Planning,
So I get it.
planning is doing something. It's making the mistakes and figuring it out without physically making the mistakes and physically figuring it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out in your head, you do it right once.
For me, I get stuck there though. So I guess I know myself, and I know that when I get into planning mode, I get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed by the just mass of things that I can be planning simultaneously in my mind, and that everything feels overwhelming. So if I don't start, I will not start. And I know this about myself. That's when if I don't start and keep going, I can dig a rut pretty deep.
Mhm. Well, if you personally, if you have to look at something and look at all of like what could happen, I can see you like looking at worst case scenarios and being like, okay, well, that's not possible then. But if you just get in and do it, and worst case scenarios never happen, like,
yeah, because I'm not allowing it.
just,
I'm constantly working towards the next. Like
Yep.
so when things go wrong, I'm not like, oh my God, everything. It's just like, all right, that didn't work. Moving on. Like I'm over it. I don't fucking care.
next
Keep
next
going.
problem to solve.
Next problem. Yeah. So there's the pros and the cons to both, for sure.
Mhm. Well, and I
think
needed
it's
that
important
so
to
much.
to do a little more. Yeah.
Mhm. I needed that so much in high school and college. Like, I wanted to do things, but I was too timid and I didn't really have the faith in myself to do it, you know? And you
Yeah.
were just like, let's go. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And so we did, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And you were there for maybe keeping me from going too far in any direction. Hope, maybe I'm sure we were the balance. It's just like how Anthony
was
can help
probably
me
about
reel
something.
back in. But
Well, no, it's still we're good for each other. Like 'cause sometimes, like I'll like you just get me going on like you're like you don't need to overthink this. It's this. Like it's like this is too simple to plan.
Yeah.
And it
way
gets
too
me
simple.
going on things like she gets me going on things a little quicker and I get her to stop and think about like, all right, this is a project. Is that really the best way to do it? Like, what is the best way instead of just jumping in and getting started? So I got her to think more about things and she gets me to get started faster.
Yep.
It works well, but
Sounds
she is still
great.
go and I'm still stop and plan. But like we definitely rubbed off on each other in a
Yes.
positive way. Excuse
Work
me.
together well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, Haley's a thinker, Bella's a doer. We have yet to see with Elena, but I'm pretty sure she's very much a doer.
Yeah, I was gonna say
She's a
she's
doer.
got doer
Like,
written all over her.
I can think of
super
so
girl.
many instances. Like I know I've told this once before, but there was a time where a friend of ours drank bubbles accidentally, thinking it was a water bottle.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was dying. Like we're all laughing at him and he's like choking and going, so Elena is the one who ran over and was patting his back and was like, it's okay. You know what I mean? This was when she was like 3 or 4. And he was like, hold on. Did you guys all just notice what happened? You guys were all laughing at me. She literally jumped into action. No one told her to. Like when she asks for something, she's normally already started it. That's like, I would like some noodles. The pan is on the stove with water in it. The noodles are out. Like, and I'm just like in awe of, because I'm like, I know that how capable she is, and she knows how capable she is. And I realize now why my dad did once say that I was the most difficult, and it's because it's difficult to have such a capable child because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I know that I knew I was capable of things, or I didn't allow people to tell me I wasn't. I was like, you don't fucking know what I can do. And I liked to try things. That's why I did a lot of stupid things, but
with a little bit of guidance,
with a little bit of guidance, with a little bit of thought,
Okay,
So the other day.
So yeah, go ahead.
The other day.
No, keep going. Mine's a
I was
long
gonna
story.
say whereas Haley is crippled by overthinking, and like at this point in her life, at 14 years old, she's like helpless. It's terrible. She will overthink making just box macaroni and cheese will like blow her mind like sometimes. And it's like Rachel, it drives her nuts because she doesn't understand why Haley can't just get started.
Yeah. But I go in and I just show her again. I'm like, this. Here's the pan. Read on the back of the box. Literally, directions are everywhere. Like, don't be afraid to read the box. Just think about the next step. Nobody knows everything. That's why there's freaking directions everywhere. So like, but if you need a little guidance once or twice, that's fine. And now she's picking up on things. But I also realized that those are some of the things that having like me doing them when I was younger made me more capable of doing them, and she didn't get that, and that's kind of on us that we didn't we did too much for her, whereas that was her time to learn how to do it. And I think that was maybe an overcorrection, because sometimes where they made it was like kids do need to be kids still, like they shouldn't have to carry the weight of the world, but they should know reality. They should learn how to function, and we don't do enough of that. Okay, hey, Enzo.
Our dog
was out with us.
Our dog just walked out of our house, and I'm so scared now.
Yeah, Enzo, you're so cute. Anthony just shared a video, a couple of different videos of like Elena and Enzo. They have the cutest freaking dynamic. I'm going to share a couple so you can see them here. Jesse, they're adorable. Okay.
The Adventures of Elena and Enzo.
Anyways.
You're his baby.
Coochie boochie, coochie boochie, coochie boochie, coochie boochie.
It's like Brad Williams said in his skit. The pit bull's like, "That's my baby."
Coochie, okie, okie, okie. Oh my God, he's such a cutie.
It's the Adventures of Elena and Enzo. I love it. Oh my gosh, at one point this morning, she had him in a triangle choke and was just squeezing his face.
He loves it.
And he loved it. Because I made her release him for a second. He was like, nope.
Don't watch his eyes.
Oh, careful.
You were poking his eyes.
Careful with the eyes, baby. Like, you know how squishy your eyeballs are?
put it on your wall, I guess. I don't want to use it. Yeah. Like, let's play with it and not break it. And then we can put it back on the wall. So dumb.
A lot of times I take them out, and Elena's always following me when I'm taking Enzo out, and then she's jumping on the trampoline and he's running around. Like, they're
He gets
always
on the
together
trampoline.
doing
It's so
crazy
funny.
stuff.
They're just buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's adorable.
So good.
So a second ago you were saying last week.
Oh, okay. We were talking about kids just doing, and
Mhm.
we have these little rhubarb plants in our yard.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best at cooking. Like, it's just a plant to me. Like, I don't really like
Right.
eating it. But
I've
my
heard the
son
word.
goes
I
out
don't
there,
know if I've ever ate it.
right? My son goes out and he chops this little stalk of rhubarb, and he's like, I want to make a rhubarb cake. Like, I don't think I've ever made a rhubarb cake in my life. And he's like, I want to do it. And I was doing something else. And I come in the kitchen and he's like creamed up some butter because he knows that's what I do when I'm making a cake. And he's chopped up his rhubarb and he's like, okay, so I know there's flour in a cake. So he goes and gets flour. And he's like, I know that there's an egg in a cake. So he goes and gets an egg. And so at that point, I'm just kind of watching him and I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes, right? And I'm like, well,
Right.
you need something that's gonna make it like rise up a little bit. So you got to do like a baking powder or baking soda or something. So he goes and gets a little bit of that. And I'm like, it's got it. Cake's usually sweet. What's sweet? He's like, oh, sugar. So he goes and gets some sugar. We're not measuring anything. He's just like, yeah, that looks like enough. Yeah, that looks like enough. And like, I set the oven and like, I'm like, okay, this much, it looks like it'll be about this, this amount of time. And I will be damned if that didn't turn out great. Like,
Awesome.
That's
I
so
was
And what skill to be
done.
able to eyeball?
Right? It was,
Yeah.
there was definitely too much butter. It was like a little
Sure.
buttery on
That's
the
why it
edges,
was
but
so
like,
good. Oh my
right?
God.
But if
That
you
was
think
so
about it, like
amazing.
that's what the first baker did. He didn't have a recipe. He was like,
That's
"Eh,
true.
this much flour, this is sugar." Like to be able to eyeball and think, okay, I know how sugar tastes, and I know more would be too much, and then like to be able and
Uh-huh.
like going with tech, that's really cool. Does he
Yeah.
ever do
It
like does
was
he ever
really
do other
cool.
stuff? Like does he cook other stuff by eye or anything, or is
No,
this like
he has
the
never
first time?
cooked anything else in his life. So that's
Maybe
why I
there's a
was like,
light above
oh,
Like
though.
maybe
That's
like
pretty
but
cool.
like what like if he can eyeball stuff and come up with ingredients like maybe like see what he
yeah.
can do. Like because a buddy of mine, like I didn't understand a buddy of mine is an amazing cook. Harry Sachs, if you're ever watching this, I'm talking about you.
And
Like
that's really his name.
I was a good cook. Well, he goes by Chaim now. So
Yeah.
Chaim. So anyway, I was a really good cook. I got taught how to cook by my grandma. Right? He blew me away. Like his talent, and he did not need to measure ingredients either. His stuff would
Mhm.
come out amazing and perfectly cooked and perfectly timed. Like there was one, and just like another example of like cooking talent. We were at a bar and they had a set. We loved craft beer. They had a 7 spice
Yeah.
beer. And if you could name the spices, you got it for free. He took one sip and named all 7 spices.
Nice.
He just had
Different talent.
he just had a freaking talent. So maybe he
Mhm.
has that. I don't know. Maybe it might be something with them, but like it was amazing how he just was. He was always that good. It was very cool.
Yeah.
And we're still in our 40s, just learning how to cook meat right.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
still
struggling.
use a meat
We're
thermometer.
we're struggling so hard.
Mhm.
Bella is like, please stop overcooking the chicken. Do you have any tips or tricks? Please send them to me.
James
Oh,
gave me a
okay.
meat thermometer.
Okay, tell me.
Well, I like all my meat overcooked, so I'm no help at all. I'm like a no pink in the steak kind of girl, which is
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh,
which is
gross.
it's a sin to my father, but
But hey,
It
you
is
like,
insane.
but
It's
you like what
terrible.
you like.
Basically wasted
I
meat,
do
yeah.
like what I like. I'm
It's chicken though. Like I'm afraid of undercooking
Yeah.
chicken, so I
Mhm.
tend to overcook it. But then it's so freaking not good.
dry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're
There's a
getting
happy
much
medium in there.
better though. Like we're getting way better. Like
Yeah, but I feel like we're like literally just finally trying to. We've thrown things together, but now we're trying to be better about what we're cooking and stuff like that. And we're
Mhm.
like just learning. Literally, neither one of us is just like naturally got it.
That's okay. As long as you're allowing yourself to screw up sometimes, like, you know what, I
Allowed.
burn it, it's okay. We got a pizza in the freezer.
We
Like,
eat what we can of it,
because
you know.
uh-huh. Because that's how you learn. When I was a little kid, this is way too much information, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. A
Always
friend of
love it.
mine and I would we had this she had this big pine tree next to her house, right? And
Mhm.
underneath of it, it was pretty much hollow because it was dead inside. It was just like super dead, super
Oh,
dangerous.
that's
But we're
very
like,
cool.
okay, this is our house. We're gonna make it our house. So we made little chairs and everything. And then we're like, of
100%,
course
yeah.
you have a kitchen in your house, right? So we made this little stone fireplace and we would cook beef stew on it, which is a terrible idea because like it could go up like that, but
Yeah.
it never did. So we made this little stone fireplace and we'd like cook Dinty Moore beef stew and we'd bring all these spices from her house and we'd like make it our own, which I'm sure tasted
Uh-huh.
like absolute garbage, but
Well, you
we
have
were trying it out ourselves, right? So and to us it was the best thing we'd ever tasted because we're like, we're really good at this. Like
You
this is
actually ate whatever you made. That's good because
oh yeah,
Alina really likes to like create things, but she's not gonna
but
eat it. She's
oh
just, and
no,
I'm like, girl, we can't be wasting like that. She's like, yeah, but I
it's so
made this
hard.
for you. I made it
Remember
for
when Bella
you to
used to
eat.
do that?
And I'm like,
When Bella used to make us stuff.
yeah, whole oranges with some water and like just
Uh-huh.
assortment of other.
Like peanut butter crackers that she smeared jelly on.
Uh-huh.
She would
And you
just
can
do
see your
stuff for
hands have
me.
been dipped in it and you're like, oh,
Uh,
thank you.
that's sweet. But it's also like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you want to eat it, if you would eat it, you can mix and combine however you want. But if you're doing it just to play, let's use Play-Doh because you're
Yes,
wasting
please.
food. We can't freaking be wasting food. Like
We
that's
can't
a
do that.
resource.
Um,
Yeah.
when I was little, I had two older brothers, and one of them, they each had their like signature sandwich. So like Mike had crunchy peanut butter and strawberry, and BJ had creamy peanut butter and grape jelly. And
I will
I'm
take
like,
them both, please.
yeah, well, for me, I was like, I want my own signature sandwich, but they took both kinds of peanut butter, and that's the only kinds of jam we had. So I'm like, I made up like mayonnaise and cinnamon, and that was like, I mean, I was really little, but that was the end of my sandwich trials. I was like,
Well,
nah, I'm good.
let me tell you the sandwich I made. Um, this was when we lived, and I only made it a handful of times, but I just remember really enjoying it. When we lived on the farm in Utah, what I could find to put on a sandwich, it ended up being white bread, mayo and mustard, pickles and
Uh-huh.
cabbage. That was it.
Really?
It was so
That
good.
actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah. It was just the food I had, so
Kind of sounds like the veggie subs we had at Subway when in junior high when I couldn't afford like the
you
meaty
know what though?
sandwiches.
It wasn't a Subway. There was a, what was it? There was a little sub place right by the junior high because I would walk
Hoagie
over there
yogi.
sometimes. Hoagie Yogi. And the vegetarian sub was 99 cents.
Yep.
It was so freaking good. I wasn't vegetarian, but a lot of times on a sub, if you have all like the other stuff, like you hardly, and plus it had cheese on it. So
Yeah, if you had 99 cents, that's not a bad way to spend it.
no. And I could walk there in junior high. Now you would never get, you know what I mean? Like we did have freedom to just like, we were more prepared to be adults by giving the freedom to like do for ourselves. And we
But
take
it's
away
hard to
the kids' ability to do for themselves when we do too much for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's hard to let yourself do that, especially when you know that there's a chance they could get hurt. Like I remember being 8 years old and walking probably like a mile and a half to the swimming pool and staying there all day and then walking the mile and a half back. And that's just what you did. And
And they
there's
should be
no
able
way
to
I'd let my
do
kids do
that. But yeah.
The amount of miles I rode on my bike to hang out with friends, like how far away they were, it's amazing. I used to do it on my bicycle every day and get home by dinner. It was crazy.
We have
Like,
an pool, but we couldn't
Right.
even use it. We have our own pool though.
So like, right, Finding Nemo, like how Marlin was like with Nemo, and like Dory, he's like, what? I don't want anything to ever happen to him. She goes, well, if nothing ever happens to him, then nothing will ever
That's
happen to
pretty
him.
boring.
That's
Yeah.
us. Like, we're
Yeah.
so like nothing ever happens to our kids, so nothing ever happens to our kids.
Our kids
It's like
Yeah.
we're
actually, I think the reason why they are as great as they are is because a lot of things actually have happened to our kids. Our kids have been through a house fire. They've been through us and like mental health problems for the parents. They've been through large
Yeah.
moves all around the country. They like, I think, but I think that's literally just made them better. They don't sweat the small stuff so much. And not that I wanted it to be those hard things, but we're almost like lucky that I feel like my kids are a little more well equipped for the world because they're not as caught up in the small shit that doesn't matter because they can see a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I think
like,
we need to intentionally do that for our kids needs to be part of the way we teach them. They need to experience more. Part of school should be so much more doing and freedom.
Yeah, okay. Another thing, sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, not at all.
Is that part of my problem is my desire to jump in and save my kids or to get offended on behalf of my kids. Like when my oldest son was 11, I think, he was helping his grandpa on the farm, and grandpa was like, take this loader, right, and drive it the 10 miles back home. I don't know how many miles it was, but it was a lot. And anyway, here was the road. Go and see you later. He didn't have a cell phone on him or anything, right? So my son's in the middle of nowhere in this loader, and he knows how to drive it, and he's driving, and it dies. He's in the middle of nowhere. It is miles to the next house, no cell phone, and he's just like, I don't know what to do, right? So eventually he gets out and he just starts running down the road and thinks he'll just make it the 10 miles to home. And so luckily somebody found him and drove him home. And when he got home, I'm just like, never again. You know what I mean? Like, oh.
He handled it just great.
He did handle it just great.
Home. He was fine. They're capable of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
one time my mom,
she's done.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I'm pretty much done. It's just
okay. Sorry.
It's hard for me to allow stuff like that to happen because, like, do I want him in a loader again? No, but did he? Yes.
But
it was just.
But yeah, no, he handled it just fine, and shit happens. So yeah, I think a little bit you do have to you got like I would have just been like, heck yeah, like you didn't freak out and just sit there. You didn't, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things he could have done that would have been wrong. He did the right thing. I just feel a little pride for that, you know.
I feel pride, but I also feel sick. Yeah, go.
Oh, just speaking of like kids being more capable than you realize, apparently, my mom found out when she dropped me off at karate class when the karate dojo was totally closed. She had no idea. She didn't even realize the lights weren't even on, right? So yeah, apparently I just popped over to the pharmacy next door, told them they're closed, and I just called my parents on their phone. Like I knew the phone number, and I didn't even know how young I was. I was like probably like 5 or 6, but like I just knew the phone number. So the pharmacist calls my mom and like, hey, your son's here. The karate place is closed. And oh gosh, she said, this is a story like apparently like I was more capable than I realized. I wasn't just stuck there. I wasn't crying outside the front door of the karate studio. I just went and found an adult. I was like, I need to call my mom. And that was that.
Right. I probably would have. I got like unnerved really easily as a little kid. I probably would have sat and cried. Maybe I just needed more adventure.
Maybe you did need someone to help you a little bit, so that's what you feel like you need to do for your children because you were like,
maybe
I needed that. Maybe.
I just always needed somebody with me. I think I'm capable as long as somebody's with me.
I don't necessarily like being alone either, but I did like when I went to New Jersey to be a nanny, and like I don't know. I feel like I never was alone because I would make friends right off the bat, no matter where I was, or I'd be like hanging out and doing things. Because as soon as I went there, I was thankfully had the church, so it automatically gave me like access to people. But then anywhere else I could meet people, I was meeting people, like at my employer.
Right. That turned out well.
I think I don't like to be alone either, but I can still do things alone because I find people to join me wherever I go.
Yep.
You know,
you're very, very good at that. And I'm grateful that you found me.
12 years later, we're married because she was just desperate for companionship and it stopped.
No, because I like
we all need each other.
You're cute and you're a good human.
No, you were
very honest in a way that like I hadn't seen in my life ever. I did not grow up with. It wasn't like they were like people were lying and being bad. There just wasn't open communication. There wasn't honesty. People weren't very real. They're still not very real. I still don't authentically know a lot about my own family in the way that I authentically can know him, because he will be vulnerable and just, and is just honest.
Tell you
Or
how it is.
not, that's not the way. And people were good, but they weren't honest.
Did you actually talk about that?
And
Like, you're allowed to say things like that?
now I'm
Right?
overly honest. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I felt that as well. So yes, I super appreciate authenticity, and I'm learning it in myself. It's hard to
It is hard
it's a
to
hard thing to
unlearn
do.
all the things that get indoctrinated into you.
Mhm.
People have told us what we are and who we are and how we're supposed to be, and we're only now realizing how
Figuring it out.
stupid that was and how wrong it is and how we need to freaking stop.
You guys
But-
were totally talking about that in one of your earlier podcasts, and I was listening to it the other day, and like how you went into a good example of that is church voice. We are making fun of church voice, right? So everyone has
Church
their
voice.
church mode, right? But even so, where you guys grew up or spent a lot of your time, especially like BYU approved housing in your formidable, like in your developing years, everyone was in church mode and church facade because you had to be for each other's sake. Like the good old saying, why do you always invite two Mormons to your party? Because if you only invite one, they'll drink all your beer.
And see, I never
Right,
had a
so
good church
everyone-
voice. I never did.
Right.
I couldn't fake it. I had a hard time faking it, which is why I couldn't convince myself I believed it.
So, but when you met me, you met someone who was never putting on a facade for anyone. And
Uh-huh.
you were like,
It's so refreshing.
it like,
Yeah.
reminded you. Lucky for me, I was the first one she met because like everyone I knew was like that. But like I was the first one.
I still think you're better than them. You think more about others than I think most people do. He's an empath.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. You hear Elon Musk saying how empathy is like what's wrong with us right now, and I'm like, you could not be more wrong.
That's because he doesn't have the ability to process emotions properly.
Yeah, I think he has a non-emotion
He needs some real friends.
processing
Elon,
brain.
seriously, come talk to us. Let's help you, work through some things.
Yeah. Well, and
And
I think
nobody
there's
will
just
not have
different
your
types of
baby.
people in this world. Thank you.
I mean,
I'm done having
I
babies.
got fixed. I couldn't. Anyway, sorry, man.
No, I love it. But I do think there are just different types of people in this world, and that's okay. Like, it's
Hopefully getting fixed is not the only reason why. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah,
None of them
otherwise, I sign me up. Like, no. Yeah, I think it takes all kinds to rule the world. I don't know.
Yes.
But I do
Totally.
think I can make a better effort to help my kids be a little more badass and a little more confident in themselves and their abilities. And
We all could. But I think as a society overall, like obviously the current school model isn't like working for every student. And we do see a lot of attributes or like struggles. And I think that are rooted in not really getting certain things educated and thinking it's just, this is common sense. Everybody should just know this. No, it isn't. Let's put common sense back into school. Let's actually teach the things. Let's teach gardening and let's teach, I don't know, just so many things that are just part of life,
Independence.
knowing where your food comes from and independence, and less sitting in a classroom, getting a good score on a test so you get the funding, like, and definitely no fucking religion in our schools. Because that is a personal thing. And like, my God,
even in the same
stop it.
even in the same exact church, you've got people with different ideas. You couldn't have one person teach everything because everybody's got different ideas. But have you seen the difference? This is going back a little bit, but have you seen the difference between playgrounds in the early 1900s versus now?
Oh, how they were basically death traps, but the kids were fine.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, they were super death traps.
We coddle the hell out of the kids, like. But yes, maybe there aren't as many injuries happening, and that can be good. But also, even injuries are going to help, I guess, in a little bit because you get stronger. You learn how to take pain. You know what I mean? Like little injuries, like you got to do it in moderation.
Big injuries that are like, I mean, if my kid was majorly injured,
going to happen, but you can't like protect against everything.
Well,
and all we do too much.
Yeah. It's
Like,
like we protect our children from any type of harm ever as best we can. But when we look back at our lives, the most we developed and the best we learned from when the worst things happened to us, the most pain, the most emotional stress, that was what made us who we are today and able to handle crap.
Yeah. Like getting in big old tractor tires and having our brothers push us down a hill where at the bottom it was just the forest. You're gonna hit a tree or keep going.
Very similar experience with the Murphy boys back in Jersey.
Like I don't know, like
jumping on the back of a UPS
in
truck
some way, like I can, my body is very physically capable, and I learned at a young age how to
tougher like that. Like that's just rougher play that makes you physically harder because you were bouncing around inside a tire. Whereas like
and if it hurts a little bit and you keep going and you realize you're actually fine.
Like our kids don't even do play that hurts. Although Bella sure.
Bella does because she pushes herself in guard. Yeah.
But
so much, but
Emily doesn't even do. Yeah, but anyway, so like the crazy shit that we did because we were unsupervised made us harder, smarter. Like how you can just take everything and just chill. Like Rachel can handle any situation with the okay, well that just happened, let's move on. Whereas I used to, less now, but still kind of do lose my shit when things go wrong. Right? Where she's like, okay, fuck it, let's go wrong. Like she's like, you are not helping yourself at all by losing your mind. Like just move on. And it's like
that's Cody for me.
Because I think so many more things happened to me, like that didn't happen to you.
Point. Rounding back to it, you learn from pain, and now shit doesn't bother you because it's just not a big deal compared to what you've lived through. Yeah. Our kids aren't really like, I don't know. We're protecting. Like,
I think our kids are more capable because of, like I said, pain.
Right, but there's
a lot of things we're not giving them.
Kids, the less they're capable. So yeah. I mean, obviously,
we need our own podcast. Obviously,
they've had to go through some shit, but like, but to Emily's point, like they're so much more capable than we give them credit for and allow them to do.
Yeah,
because we're helicopter parents and stuff.
Anyway, we can be. Yeah,
agreed. I could keep going with like all sorts of stuff, but we should probably wrap it. But
oh God, yes. Okay. Well, we did start pretty late because we were having a lot of technical issues. But so wrap it back up. Those kids were badasses. Our kids are badasses. We were badasses, and
we're all capable of being badasses in there somewhere.
Yeah, and I think one thing I did like, we could do a whole other podcast on it, but a point that when we were talking about this, kept coming to my mind was that boys were more gypped than girls as far as experiences, because I think we were a little more pressure was put on us to be a certain way than men were. And now, like, I feel like, and I think Anthony agrees, that it's like some generations of men have been kind of nerfed and they're not as capable, and it's harming them overall right now. So
yeah, gender roles and what you were prepped for as a man.
Yeah, like gender roles are bad for literally fucking everybody. Like whatever the fuck works for you.
Yeah,
like, stop that shit.
Trying to be a more modern man, like you gotta cook, clean, do the laundry, do this. So you gotta share
all the things.
And you got to be like prepared to do that. Anyway.
Instead of thinking there's somebody there to take care of you and you're just a helpless, Instead
of only preparing for half the responsibility.
Guys need to stop being like jerks to guys. Like even just this weekend at Easter, like Anthony, like cousin-in-law and brother-in-law, he's just like, typical kind of country dude, and he's like proud of it or whatever. And he's like none of the gender talk stuff. And Anthony's just like, he's like, what? You don't like my purse? Just like he keeps, everything he says to it. He's just like,
there's context. It's right. So like I had several ladies. I got a wife and 3 daughters. There's always a tampon and a pad in my purse. And yes, I carry a purse because despite having a wife and 3 daughters, I'm the only one that carries a bag. So it came in handy yet again. And so like this guy's like, man, so this is a 6'4" good old boy. Man, you got a nut up. I was like, dude, I am 45 years old. I got a wife and 3 daughters. I carry a purse. You cannot embarrass me. Like, this is the 5th time having a tampon pad came in handy. Yeah, I carry a purse. You are not going to embarrass me.
Like, stop being a small-minded schoolboy. You like a fucking child. You sound like a president.
Like, you don't even know. Like, you sound like a child to me. Yeah. Like, I carry a bag and I carry pads because I never stopped carrying a diaper bag, and that's what my family like.
He has a custom made. Our friend made him a bag on the inside at Superman.
I got
love
cool
it.
shit in there, like, but I will always have like feminine products. I got like a multi-tool ejector cards. I always put my keys and stuff. I hate carrying stuff.
Like, why would that be considered stupid?
It was
Because
just
it's
funny,
considered
like,
girly.
right?
What a dumb way to think.
Dude, I carry a purse with feminine products in it, and it makes me far more manly than you, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
heck yeah.
you're so tied to that you're afraid to be anything different. You'll make fun of anybody who's not exactly like you. And I like this man, but he's cognitively still living in a different world that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was cracking jokes later. Like later on, I got to have the opportunity. It came up again. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I have that in my purse," and I looked him dead in the eye. And
What?
it was really, yeah,
It was funny.
he's cool though. It wound up being funny, but yeah, it was
Guys about being a certain way because it is literally only harmful to men.
but it was one of those alpha male things, and I was like, "Bitch," I was like, "No."
Being a bitch.
Not that I would ever call a guy that could crush me in one punch a bitch, but
I
yeah,
would.
I was mentally like,
But you could think it.
if in a moment,
I would say it.
In a moment, it
Like
came out-
you were being such a bitch. But
in a moment, it came out better than my retelling. It was.
no, you did. You handled it perfectly.
I liked it.
It was
I liked
fun.
it.
Yeah. And agreed.
Anyways,
Agreed. So
so yeah, we'll work on that with our kids, and hopefully, I don't know how to. I don't know what the future of our education is, but I would definitely think we
whatever
would
it is.
benefit from there being more of that brought back,
Mhm.
and we'll teach it at home too.
Yeah,
If
like,
we can get any time to be at home and fix our economy to the point where like we don't all have to be slaves to money all the time, and we can take time to spend time with our children and our family learning and experiencing all this shit.
I like it.
All right, well, I love you. I Lilas.
I love you too. I think you're amazing. I like podcasting with you. Anthony,
Me
it was
too.
good to see you. Come back again.
All right, so if you speaking of podcasting again, talk to Cody, ask him if he'd be interested in doing like a man's perspective and start talking about like protecting women and helping and stuff like that. I got a buddy of mine who we have differing opinions. I think Cody and I are probably more like-minded than my buddy Matt on things when
Yeah.
it comes to stuff like that. So like,
I think they teeter, like they like to stay in the middle.
yeah, and like he's one way, I'm the other, and Cody's in the middle. I don't know, but
Maybe
like, no, but like
actually.
on those topics, I know we're very like-minded on. Like when
Yeah.
it comes to like protecting women and helping girls, like stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I
Like
think
I know
so.
very like-minded on that. But like, whereas my buddy, he only has a son. He doesn't have daughters or a
Yeah.
wife, so he comes from like a manly. Anyway, so try to prime the pump, see if you can get him to talk. He doesn't even have to turn his video on. Like, just he can have an avatar.
Right.
It would just be nice to have like
Okay,
other
well.
guys. Like I don't have a lot of guy friends, so it'd be nice to have him.
To have that
Contribute.
perspective there.
Yeah,
Hey,
and like,
I
he
will-
sees, like,
I will
how
tell
much
him.
fun you
He's-
have. So yeah,
His perspective would be amazing to have because he does not sugarcoat anything. And he has
he
some
should, and
great
he should get
opinions.
it out there. And other guys,
You should get
do it.
interested.
Like
Otherwise, you guys we could just have a conversation, like a call, so he can talk about it and then bring that
Yeah.
to the table with Matt. Like, here's another perspective I, was given or whatever. Anyways,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
we gotta go get our kids
I will tell-
because we're planning to hang out with his
Awesome.
brother and stuff. But love
Awesome.
you. Have a good
Love
one.
you, Lilas.
And we'll talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye.
like,
Yeah.
When there's other riders behind you, you can't stop on the track, okay? I love you. And that's a good job on your Stacy.
I'm gonna be a moto mom. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so rad, dude. My kid's gonna do the coolest shit ever. Stuff like this right here. Park it! Yeah, let's go back.
So what are you doing, Jackson?
Old freaking 300 won't run right, so I
Why?
pulled my carburetor apart. There was a chunk about that big in the bottom of my bowl, and my floats are sticking.
I wonder why.
It's a Honda. It's a carbureted Honda.
Old 300.
They don't make them like they used to. They make them better now.
Better get it. You want a little bit more? Go. Okay, Ansley.
Huh?
Ansley,
Yeah?
start turning hard left.
Oh, wait.
Other way. Other way. Turn hard.
I wanted.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, straighten up.
Get.
Perfect. Okay, go right, away from the south. Very good. Straight on, there you go.
Hey, Bubby, you've already mowed this. Why don't you go find a neighbor's yard that needs mowed? Go mow Ernie's yard. Load it up and go over there to Ernie's, see if Ernie wants you to mow his.
Okay. Well, let me move this. Let me move that. I'll mow that when I come back.
Okay.
I think you said it's okay, yeah.
I'm about to go level up, I cannot settle for nothing, I never been regular, always knew I could do better, I finally made it this far and I'm not looking back, they didn't see all the time that I put in, now me and the money are way too attached, still reppin' 919, the city is mine and I put it all on the map, coming for what I deserve.
Subscribe up there.
Subscribe.
There's a subscribe up there.
Okay.
Like the button.
Okay.